Hello, everyone. Very welcome. Today is the 10th November, Tuesday. This is our Interfaith Webinar of Scotland. A very warm welcome to all of our viewers. ENSA, which is Edinburgh Napier Student Association, I am the elected president for that, and ENSA is co-hosting the event with Interfaith Scotland under the umbrella of Interfaith Scotland Week. This year, 2020, has been marked with unusually high levels of stress, anxiety, and loss as a result of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Students, especially those transitioning from A levels to university studies this year, are increasingly referred to as the 2020 generation. For this group, many expectations have been challenged with social distancing and the threat of further disruption to normal life being a real cause of dismay. Alongside the political, health, and social welfare interventions, we need to cope with these new and unprecedented demands. We also have to rely on personal resources, psychological resilience, and close social networks. Faith is an aspect of our personal, family, and community lives, which can help immensely at each of these levels. It's difficult not to become anxious or depressed in these phase of COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, a degree of concern is necessary for us to take precautions and protect ourselves, those we love, and those we live in our neighborhood. In this context, affiliation to one's faith can provide hope and meaning in otherwise chaotic and confusing state of affairs. As there is no vaccination yet for the virus, faith is for many an important resource to navigate the challenges being faced and those that lie ahead. Faith can offer a protective measure for our mental health and well-being. The Interfaith Initiative has worked for many years in communities across the UK to bring people of faith together. In my experience, interfaith is a genuine effort to unite human beings for the good of own towns, cities, our own towns, cities, and nations. It is with this endeavor that Edinburgh Napier University is proud to be hosting an interfaith event for students and staff members and the whole human mankind as it's going live. So the theme is role of faith in promoting positive mental health. As this event is going to last for an hour, we are avoiding any Q&A opportunities. But as I mentioned before, that this event is co-hosted by Interfaith Scotland Interfaith Week, one of the events. They have the other events on the rest of the day. So over here, I don't want to bore you much, but would like to invite our first guest. There will be 10 speakers, 10 guest speakers, and our first one is Francis Humes, who is the director of Interfaith. Please welcome Francis Humes, National Development Officer of Interfaith Scotland.
Thank you very much, Ankit. It's wonderful to be here. So yes, I'm Francis Hume and I am the National Development Officer at Interfaith Scotland, and my role is to work all over the country supporting the 25 local interfaith groups and working with young people and women's activities and a whole range of different activities which I don't have time to talk about just now. But it's great to be able to say just a wee bit about Scottish Interfaith Week. So I don't know if you've got my first slide there, Ankit. Brilliant, thank you. So the theme of Scottish Interfaith Week this year is connecting. And Ankit mentioned that we've been under a lot of stress, and some of that is due to not being able to connect with others and spending so much time in our own homes. But through the wonders of technology, we are able to do more connecting. So that's our theme, because we saw the importance of all of that. So we're having the week, it started on Sunday and it's going till Sunday. We have, if we go to the next slide, please. We have over 60 events, 68 at our last count. So there's still more events to come, and you can find that at our website, scottishinterfaithweek.org/program 2020. So one advantage of having an online festival this year is you can attend events that are all over the country from the benefit of just being in your own, nice and cozy in your own living room. So for me, it's wonderful as well because I support these groups from Skye and Shetland to Dumfries, and I can go along to events, and I'm sure they'd be delighted if you had a chance to go along to theirs as well. So if you check out the Scottish Interfaith Week website, most of the events you would actually need to register for. They might be happening on Zoom, for example. So see if you need to register. Some of them, fantastically like today, you don't have to register for at all because they're online, and that's brilliant. So there's a range of things from drumming, cooking, meditation, and you can see also that we have all our different social media for Scottish Interfaith Week. So I just wanted to outline a couple of events you might be interested in. So tomorrow there's a drumming workshop in the 5:30 in the evening. On Thursday, a creative writing workshop at 7 o'clock. And on Friday, you can sign up to attend an anti-racism workshop. And that is with an organisation, and there's some spaces left with Anti-Racist Educator Collective. So hopefully something for everybody. Come along. Well, obviously enjoy tonight. I think the topic of faith and mental health is very, very important. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all the speakers and what you have to say, and hope to see you throughout the week as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francis. So as we have just heard that there are plenty of more events on this interfaith, and just to want to mention again that by the interfaith, what I'm trying to say is not only that you can only view that with the faith if you have, even, everybody has their own faith, their own beliefs. You can follow them, and you never know who's your neighbor, what they believe they follow in, but you still, love thy neighbor. That's a very global approach for all of them. So I would request that if you get chance, to all the viewers, if you get an opportunity or you have time, you can go to other events as well. I have been to some of the events for the interfaith, and that's where this idea came through, that you can live in harmony with others as well, whether they believe in your beliefs or faith or not. It's still like a garden, have different flowers, and every flower has their own songs and fragrance. So is there anything else, Francis, you want to add?
I suppose, yes, I could just add a little bit about interfaith dialogue from what you've just said there, Anne-Keith. So we bring people together from all the different religions in Scotland, and no religion as well. I like to say everyone has a belief in something, whether it's to do with animal rights or the way we treat people and the environment. So yes, anybody can come along to events. For any country, any background, come from all over the world, and any faith or no faith. So open to everybody.
Thank you very much. So there we go. As we just got some information from Francis, now I would like to introduce our second guest, who is from Edinburgh Napier University, our officer from mental health, who is the mental health advisor as well, Angus Mackenzie. He is the student well-being and inclusion advisor as well. Hi, Angus.
Hello, Angus. How are you? Thank you so much.
I am good. Thank you.
For
very welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to be. Thank you for being part of this this amazing event. I'll quickly rush through, but basically, I'm going to. This is obviously who I am. I'm one of the mental health advisors, part of the counselling and mental wellbeing team at Edinburgh Napier University. I'm going to talk mainly about the counselling and mental wellbeing team, a little bit what we offer, and just how students can contact us. And I'll touch a little bit about one of the sister teams is the disability inclusion team here as well. So this important event. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is just a few questions that came up really in reflecting on today's event and just this whole week as well, and just recognising, and certainly from a mental health perspective, just the importance of spirituality and all its wide varieties. What important part of the whole person approach and a part of well-being that can actually be. And I think as a mental health advisor, it's certainly important for me to reflect on that spirituality can be a part of recovery, and it's really, really important. Again, about developing strong partnerships, really important. Again, the importance of an event like this between the wellbeing team, the counselling team, and local faith and spiritual organisations, support students positively and importantly, and around things like bereavement, loss, and other things as well, which might impact on mental health and wellbeing. And I suppose a couple of questions really for people attending the event as well, and that obviously the importance that faith and spiritual leaders can play in tackling stigma and I suppose discrimination that still exists. It has been tackled and big steps have been taken, but there is still some out there about mental health and mental well-being issues, and I suppose how they support their communities is really, really important. And I can touch on that last bit, just increasing their own understanding as well, around about mental well-being and how best to support their communities that may come out to reach out for help for them. And certainly for the students, this ties into the next sort of slides, the counselling mental well-being team here at the university. Next slide, please. So I'm part of the counselling mental wellbeing team, and there's one main referral route. And please, if you are working with students, that in any of the chaplaincy roles, please encourage students to come forward and please give them that email address. It doesn't matter, what significant or small or large, whatever an issue might be. We're here to work with students in all kinds of presentations and issues. So please encourage students to come and see us. They'll contact us and then we'll email them. There's a short registration form, and then technically that's them engaged in the service, so we can set up an initial meeting assessment to see where we go from there. Next slide, please, Ankit. And this is obviously we are online service at the moment, as we were looking to move back in January or February, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So certainly for the time being, we're offering telephone sessions, email advice, or online sessions to students using WebEx or Microsoft Teams and things like that. And while that was a bit of a struggle at the start of lockdown, and I suppose when we came in March, April this year, I think we've actually got much more used to it, and certainly students seem to be engaging with it as well, and it doesn't seem to be a barrier to many students to come forward, which is great, and telephone sessions as well. So these are working well with most of the students, I think, that we're working with, and we're not, when we're trying to come up with some alternatives, potentially face-to-face, but certainly maybe using the university resources so they can have that confidential space to contact us, maybe if using speaking from home or where they live isn't appropriate, or issues around confidentiality or whatever. So that's sort of systems that we're looking to put in place this trimester. Next slide, please. Again, if you're having students, direct them to the My Napier counselling and mental wellbeing pages, and there'll be information about the services, what we offer, the different kinds of support, counselling, cognitive behavioural therapy, mental health advice, mindfulness, drop-ins. All number of services are there, and how to access the service again. So please encourage students just to come to the My Napier student portal, student pages, and the counselling and mental wellbeing pages there. They'll be able to direct them, give them more information about the service, and really important resources there as well, apps, and how to contact us, and shelf help and various other sort of thing, which is an online, I suppose, list of books and web pages and TED Talks and things, which is really useful all around wellbeing. So lots of resources on those pages for students. Next slide, please. This is obviously the disability inclusion team, which we work very closely with, which is part of the overall wellbeing team, and they have a slightly different remit, but their remit is obviously around disability in all its shapes and forms. And that will also include a mental health, mental well-being, and they will help students devise a learning plan so that our mental well-being issues, concerns are not a barrier to us achieving our potential. Things like extra time, social anxiety, or software, or other actual practical arrangements which could be made to help students with all kinds of issues and struggles, but mental well-being being a central key to that. And then the last slide, please. And we are a confidential service, so obviously, we can explore that in more detail what that means. But it's important to highlight that obviously, if students come and see us, we treat things sensitively and confidentially. And that's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Angus. So that's pretty much all the services provided for the well-being by our Edinburgh Napier University. I hereby go to my next guest, looking at the time, so I'm just speeding up. Thanks a lot, Angus, for joining us. So now I'm here to invite Stephen Manders, who is providing a chaplaincy service for Christian faith in our Edinburgh Napier University. Hi, Stephen. Very good evening.
Hi, good to see you, Ankit. Yeah, I'm one of the chaplains, and the chaplaincy service is new at Edinburgh Napier University. It was launched last year, and unfortunately, COVID, which has affected everyone's lives, has interrupted our plans and what we were doing. But we're available, and we're particularly available through the My Napier website. We can be contacted at any time. What I want to tell you about is how the service works in a kind of partnership way in terms of supporting student welfare and student well-being, particularly mental health well-being. And my background is in social work. The other chaplains have very diverse backgrounds, but a huge range of life experiences. And our perspective is to see mental health and spiritual wellness as something which allows us to find meaning in life and purpose in human existence, I guess. But it also allows people to be equipped to appreciate their life experiences no matter where they're at. And so we're here to work in the university to allow people to explore the faith dimension in their lives and to take time to think about who and what they are. So if you look at the other slides, I suppose the service that I'm suggesting we want to do is to recognize that
Well, seems like we are facing some technical issue. Connection. Right. So that's love your neighbor as yourself. That's what the statement has came up from our chaplaincy from Stephen.
So hopefully I'm back.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So we're looking at what holistic care should involve. We're seeing that what we can contribute to the university is a recognition that faith can be part of the process of understanding life's problems, and faith and belief can contribute to emotional wellness. And there's a quote there that on the first slide, Professor John Swinton, who's one of the professors academics at Aberdeen University, who specializes in researching faith and spirituality in healthcare and social care settings, he wrote that. And it's seeing that our role, particularly in supporting mental health, is to provide a way where people can be equipped to handle stresses and difficulties in life. And I know as the parish minister at Holy Corner that I've encountered quite a lot of Napier students now who are dealing with life events and are having to face up to what stresses should mean. And so what we're saying as a chaplaincy service is that we want to provide a holistic care. So we're into partnership working, and where we can promote a level of inclusion where people can come to us whether they have faith or no faith, and we can be signposts. So if it's much more appropriate that we can guide people to counselling, to psychological support, we can advise them to go to the student counselling and wellbeing services, that we can understand how we can draw people of faith together in community, so we can actually use faith as a kind of a kernel supporting an idea of self-care. And our primary purpose then, our kind of creed, is to look how we can shape the lives of students and staff at the university so we can be accompaniers on this purpose and meaningful search. And so what we're understanding the chaplaincy is doing is something which can allow healthy partnerships to form in the community, in the academy, academically, in amongst the student body, and amongst the postgraduate body, and amongst the staff. And we kind of want to model this idea of interdependence, where we can recognize how each has something to offer. And for us, it's really important that chaplaincy is not seen as the preserve of Christianity, but as something which is interfaith and multi-faith. And because we're recognizing the commonality of ethics, but we're also recognizing the commonality of insight, where people from different faiths can contribute to the wholeness of people's individual lives, their personal lives, and the community itself. And I suppose in terms of explicit Christian components, we're compelled to think about how we love our neighbor and how we love ourselves. The idea of self-care is something which allows us to contribute in the community and in our own life situations, particularly when we're isolated, because there's a recognition that there are enormous stresses being placed on people just now, having to work from home and being socially isolated. And so we want to show that faith can allow people to discover mechanisms to cope, the idea of prayer, the idea of meditation, of self-reflection, the idea of stopping and taking stock, being still, but also entering into dialogues continually. And I would want to say as a Christian chaplain that I don't believe I have all the answers, but what I do believe is that when I work with other people, whether they have faith or no faith, we can actually process a system that allows us to empower people to find their mental health and well-being, to support healthy living and good living, and to address real spiritual needs. Last year, for example, one of the first things we did for the university was we hosted the LGBTQI Remembrance Service, which was deeply moving, where we actually facilitated a space, negotiated with students, negotiated with staff to allow people to express their needs from that particular community so that they were welcomed, accepted, and affirmed, and that their struggles were recognized and named. So for me, chaplaincy at the university is about naming the reality of individual lives and community lives, but actually affirming the worth of all human beings. And it's done with our faith partners and with people of no faith. So chaplaincy at Napier is not about proselytizing or evangelizing. It's about living to our creeds and recognizing how they can touch humanity in a particular way. And so if I can just finish my little bit by asking you to share with me this prayer. You don't need to pray if you don't want to, but if I say this, it becomes a blessing for all of us. So loving God, keep us strong and healthy in body, mind, and spirit. You are the source of my health and my inner being. As we draw close to you, add strength to my weakness. Might you comfort me so that I can cope. Might you guide me so that I can find direction in life. And guard me against negativity and anxiety. Help me to understand my emotions and lead me to healthy ways in my living. Most of all, draw me close to you, filling me with faith, trust, and love for myself and for my neighbor. Amen. And all chaplains, I want to say, all chaplains can be contacted through the My Napier website, and we're free to talk in confidence, certain that you're be respected and never judged. We're just available.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thanks a lot for coming up. So I'm looking at the time now. We are just running out of the other speakers. So I will go straight to next speaker, who is Amin Buxton. He is from our chaplaincy from Edinburgh Napier University again, and following the chaplaincy for Islamic faith. Hi, Amin. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And thank you so much for having me on, and thank you everyone for coming together for this event. It's a very important subject. I've got a very short time. I'm just going to jump straight into the topic, which is really kind of deriving some positivity from the Quran itself. I'm going to just recite a very short chapter from the Quran, and then I'm going to explain why this is relevant to what we're talking about. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. So that was the Arabic, the original Arabic of this chapter, the very short chapter, which is called the Morning Brightness. And in it, this is an address from God to the Prophet Muhammad and to those and to his nation as well, that in a time of difficulty, he was in a time of difficulty, he was in a time of, in his early days of his mission in Mecca, he was experiencing rejection, he was experiencing aggression from his own people. And he felt he was really feeling the weight of that, the weight of having to convey the message to people who were hostile to him. He was feeling perhaps some inner conflict, some doubt, some big challenges that he was facing. And then this revelation comes to him in which God swears by the morning brightness. Okay, you know, and often when we're going through dark patches, you know, just connecting to the outside, to the elements, it lifts our spirits. Okay, you know, that after every darkness and every difficulty, there comes this light. So the brilliant morning sun is a reminder of hope, and it's a sign of hope, and it's a sign of positivity. By the morning brightness and by the light at the night when it grows still, and then you know, there's a concept of the alternation of night and day. That nothing remains, whatever state you're in. It's not permanent. Can we go back? So I haven't quite finished the slide before that. Your Lord, but then God swears by this thing that your Lord has not forsaken you. Lord has not forsaken you, nor does He hate you. Okay, the fact that this difficulty you're going through, it's not a sign that God has abandoned you, or that God has wants bad for you. But you know, tests and these difficulties we go through, they're part of life. They're part of the pattern of life. It's not a sign that God has abandoned you or forsaken you. The next slide, please. And the future will be better for you than the past. So this is really something to think about. That whatever difficulties, whatever you know, struggles we're going through, and this patch we're going through, you know, the lockdown and so on, we'll look back. You know, this will pass, and a new time will come, and we'll look back at these days. You know, it's not going to be forever. The future will be better for you than the past. And also, this life is temporary. This life is short. This life is limited. We also, our vision and our sight is on what's going to come in the next life, in eternity. Your Lord is sure to give you so much that you'll be satisfied. Okay, that your God. When we think about God, we think about His generosity, we think about His kindness, and think about His bounty. He's not limited by the limits of human weaknesses and human frailties. And the next slide, please. And then the next section is reminding ourselves of the blessings that we have. Okay, whatever difficulties we're going through, whatever state we're in, we have to think about what we actually have, not what we don't have, not the kind of things the restrictions that we're going under. What do we have? And God reminds the Prophet Muhammad of his past. That you were an orphan. Did He not find you an orphan and shelter you? Did He not find you seeking and guide you? Did He not find you in need and make you self-sufficient? So, but all of us can think of the many blessings that we have. Yes, we've lost certain things. Yes, certain things have been taken away from us. But when we think on what we have compared to what we don't have, you know, that we look on the positive side. We look at the many things, the many positives, the many gifts that we receive constantly, and every day, every breath, everything is a blessing. Everything is a something to reflect on. And finally, there's a call to action in the next slide, which is sorry, we'll go back. So yeah, is to have sympathy and to have compassion for other people. Do not be harsh with the orphan. Do not rebuke the one who's asked for help, and proclaim the bounties of your Lord. This chapter ends with the call to action that radiate that kindness and radiate that goodness to other people. Even if you are suffering difficulty, you know that other people will be suffering like you. They may be in a worse state than you, but radiate that positivity. Help those who are in need. The orphan is cited because that's the weakest person in society generally. And those who ask for help, give that help for them. Even if you don't feel like you can give what you can, and proclaim the bounties of your Lord. You know, show that gratitude, and show and express the goodness that you have. And that's a very short and very compressed summary. And there's a lot more to say. But
thank you very much. Thanks, Anim. Thanks for coming along and sharing your beautiful thoughts.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thanks. Now we'll go to our next speaker, who is from Hindu Society, Dr. Narasimhan. Hi, doctor. Can you hear me?
You see my face? video?
Yeah, we can. Very welcome.
Okay. Yeah,
We got
thank
your
you.
presentation. So Dr. Narishima is going to speak to you regarding the Hindu faith, right? Yeah, the presentation.
Presentation coming up.
Yeah, it's on that. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ankit, for a nice warm introduction. I'm myself Narasimhan Sampath Kumar, based in Glasgow. By profession, I'm a structural engineer. At the same time, I'm also a voluntary priest in the Hindu Temple of Scotland, situated in Rutherglen, Glasgow. And before I go into the role of faith, I thought I will give a little brief introduction on the Hindu perspective. And during my talk, if we could go to next slide, please. So I will give a brief introduction of what is the faith in terms of the Hindu religion, its aspects of faith, and how we can practice in real life situation. That's what we are here gathered today. And then while doing practicing, how to follow the golden principles of health and mental well-being, and how to cultivate, sustain, and strive for the realization. As you could see, there are a few photos here and in the following slides, a bit colorful, and at the top you see the Hinduism, followed by the Om, that is a Sanskrit word, means black Sanskrit letter. What does it mean? All are living beings, non-living things. Everything is connected by the God. If there is a creation, as a well-known phrase, there must be a creator. So that's all linked together. Three shabda sound, a, u, ma. All these three forms as a Om, which is a pranava. And God is quite always for the being like with a limited knowledge. He is quite even though he is omnipresent and omnipotential, we can't perceive him incompletely. That's why we have the following of the God worshipping in form. That's what you see, those gods at the top. That can be very simple, like out of sand or clay or metal or gold, anything, and it can be housed in your heart, mind, or in a house, anywhere. That's what you see those, and this below three photos, the Indian architectural where the temple or houses. We do have the such temples across UK and other countries. So if you visit to Glasgow, you are welcome to our temple, Hindu Temple of Scotland, and be practice. So if I go to the next slide, please. Yeah, faith in the equivalent Sanskrit language is called Shraddha, that is more with the attention and sincerity and dedication, and also Vishwasa. Vishwasa is means it's a blind, it's more complete faith, unquestionable faith, trust, confidence, and belief. Is something like what an infant baby will look up to its mother all the time and just believe. And in Hindu religion, the other word we call is Sanatana Dharma. Dharma is a codified text, and that is times immemorial. That's what the Sanatana means. So it is the eternal law. And in Hinduism, it's not nothing like a blind faith. Everything is open for to experiment yourself and called faith with conviction or realization. How to do? There are three principal methods, which is called direct experience, or otherwise called pratyaksha, or circumstantial evidence like anumana, inference, or validation from the statement of scriptures like Shabda. I will give a very brief example. Pratyaksha, right in front of whatever we see, we hear, we taste, we touch by feel, and all those things. Like then we are sure this is there. That's your faith. And the next one is, if you can't see much, for example, there is a smoke billowing out of a hilltop, you don't need to really go to the hill to see there is a fire. We have seen in our kitchen or in our home place, fireplace. So that is a scientific inference. When these two fail, then we go and take resort to the Shabda, otherwise called as Vedas, and they have been there time immemorial, given by the God, the Supreme Soul, and the sages over the millennia. And they are further derivatives like Brahmana, the study of God, Upanishad, that takes you closer to the God, Itihasa, Puranas, very famous stories like magnum opus, Ramayana or Mahabharat, and Bhagavad Gita is like essence of all the Vedas, like you take a juice from the fruit, and that's something equivalent to, you can say, like equivalent of Bible in the other Christianity. And what by practicing faith, if you are in right direction, what is the end achievement is you get a proper wisdom, boundless, unlimited wisdom, which is called jnana, and always at peace, which is shanti, and bliss. Bliss should not be mistaken for a happiness. Happiness is lack of sadness. Lack of sadness is happiness. Here, bliss is ananda, where you remain in your own self and with the God for eternity. So, if we can move to the next slide. So in Hinduism, the faith can be for various aspects. It can start from Supreme Self, the Creator, Brahman, or our own Atma. When you mean Atma, is not this body. Slowly we need to realize our body is not, our heart is not. It's something more than that. When I say my name is Narasimhan, that my is denotes the Atma. We don't say I hand, I ear, I ear. It is my ear, my eyes, my nose, my hand. So that my is denotes the soul, which is Atma. So you can believe in that. You can believe in the creation of that Atma, Brahman, or the whole nature, that's the whole universe is going around, or the gods, and then to the teacher. Beyond our parents, everyone is actually our teacher. So faith in them in the right way. And then the karma. We do the Hindu beliefs, as you know, the birth and death in various cycles. To come out of them is called moksha or liberation. And also it is quite interesting to note, for in the Hindus we have various school of philosophy where we can say there is God, which means asti, it exists, or it doesn't exist. Even that can be in the realm of Hinduism. Or we can say there is no God, but we all souls are supreme. Or we can say the God and souls are same, and likewise in nature, all the combinations. So that gives the broad idea of the faith in Hinduism. Now if we move to the next slide, for today's real life situation, like what we are facing, how to go through this, there are few checkpoints I can say with the considering the time limit. We can see how follow our mind in terms of thinking, how we behave every day in day out, how we perceive the world views, and that based on that we can understand based on the religious faith and what are the certain things we are naturally attached to and naturally tend to avoid. That will give us where we sit in the faith, as I showed in the previous slide, and then try to discern properly. Like, you know, it is like a intellectual discrimination. It's not a discrimination in deciding, but in the intellectual way, try to discern rational and irrational. Like if the milk is mixed with the water, we have a belief like the swan can take only the milk, leaving out the water. Likewise, by practice, you can distinguish what is rational and what is irrational. More you do, that will keep you motivated and also focused in the with a very positive mental health and mind well-being. How to know that? There is a next slide. So there is a very small checkpoint, I would say. When you do this, you can change your habits for good. Where there is, people say, right, even the mental health advisors, if you start any good habit, try to sustain it for 21 days, or I would say 48 days. And later, if you are missing it, you will actually feel there is some void in your habit, like running for every day, some 5 kilometer, or biking for 30 or something like that. Anything is good. And then cultivate your deeper awareness by listening to your inner voice. That's where the meditation comes. And balanced holistic life, it doesn't mean that you can have a very erratic, one day you are all awake whole day and another day you are completely on the zombie mode. Try to maintain whole balance and holistic life. Where do you find all this? The Vedas, the Hindu scriptures give the proper guidance, and that's all come from our tradition, which is called sampradaya. By doing this, we always reminder of our supreme self. And how do? We do ultimate surrender, which is by prayer. That is called servitude to the supreme self. But how do you prayer? That's in next slide. So here is the guidance. It doesn't mean when you mean prayer or meditate, you confine yourself to a small room all the day. Not at all. The Hinduism says you should do your duty. Even God says, I'm remaining not without doing any duty, even for a moment. So it is always we need to do our duty as an individual self, family, relatives, friends, society, country, and to this whole world. So when you do, you need to have a healthy thinking mind and a very strong body and the soul. That's what we say, body in this birth, mind and soul, my soul and supreme. So all are interconnected. Connected is the theme of this year's Scottish Interfaith for 2020, as we all know. That's how the connection happens. And to maintain the body, as you can see in the banner below, there's a sun salutations. The sun, as I have said, pratyaksha is the one visible supreme God. There are more gods beyond sun, but that's what we can perceive. If we have many temples, it may exist today, may not, but that's what. So more you do, you get exposed, you also get vitamin D and be physically fit. That will bring your body in equilibrium state, and then you follow your control, breathe control. As we all know, the heartbeat is 72 pulse per minute. More you slow down, more you reduce, you get a very good control, and then that way body mind remains equal, and that will lead to be in a term called equipoise. Equipoise means you remain sthita pragya, determined without unaffected by the outcome, whether it is happiness or grief, rich or poor, you have friends or enmity, separated or united. That will lead you to have a maha vishwasa in your supreme self, and that will be undetermined faith. How you do this? You, whatever the outcome comes, you sacrifice. So it's called phala is
Thank
fruits,
you. Thanks a
tyala is
lot,
sacrifice,
Doctor. Sorry,
and karma.
we're just
And
running over
yeah,
the time
thank you
now.
very much. So, and
Thank
you
you very
just
much.
think, you whatever you think, you would speak, you whatever you do, you work. That's I would say the last word. So that's my last slide. In fact, the last one. Thank you very much. By this way, we will remain at wisdom, peace, and bliss. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. Right. Without wasting any more time, taking more time, I will go next to our next speaker, who is from Sant Nirankari Mission, Dr. Bobby Shura.
Hello.
And
okay.
Personally, I have been to that. Dr. Bobby Shura, very welcome. I have been to your Glasgow branch as well, and some of the blood donation you have done, I have participated in that, and especially thanks to food donation which you have done to our students in Edinburgh Napier University as well. Over to you.
Andrew. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's a real pleasure and honor to be participating in this event and hearing such wise thoughts that we've already heard today. As Ankit and has just said, that's okay. I'm a member of the Sant Nirankari Mission. We follow a living guru, a spiritual guide. Her name is Sadhguru Mata Sudiksha Savinder Hardevji. Sudiksha Ji, we call her with love. And I'm going to talk a little bit today, both as a psychologist, but also as a member of the Sant Nirankari Mission. I've been practicing psychology for over 22 years. I have a practice in the West Midlands in the United Kingdom in England. We all know that whether we are of faith, we are finding faith, or even if we disregard faith traditions, we don't necessarily believe, life presents all sorts of stresses, and those stresses and strains can impact upon us. It could be financial losses, it could be relationship problems. We may not attain the grades or the results we wish to attain. There may be a bereavement or illness or redundancy. So many things can impact upon our mental health, our emotional equipoise. And of course, psychologists, counselors, psychotherapists are there. But there is something that they all help us to do, and that is to develop something called resilience. Call it composure. In fact, the symposium for this year in the Sant Nirankari Mission, in the early part of December, we have a 3-day virtual online event where the theme will be composure, which really is about resilience. It's about equipoise. It's about staying rooted and strong. And resilience is very key. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, an elasticity, if you like, when things are difficult. It's the ability to keep going in adverse circumstances. And you know, faith, spirituality, belief in God, our connection to our higher power, these are really important in terms of developing resilience. So I'm going to go through a slide with a few transitions. If we can have the first part of that slide, Alistair, please. This slide will build one by one. So just those 3 boxes for now. These are the components actually of resilience. On the first box on the left, if we have positive emotions, if we are positive in our thinking, that can be a psychosocial determinant of stress reduction. It's a really key player in building resilience. And actually, if we have an optimistic outlook, if we have a hopeful outlook, that can also be a very important aspect of resilience and emotional coping. And of course, if we have faith and belief in something bigger and greater than whatever it is that we're dealing with, that can also be a real support. So those three things really help with our resilience. And in the second box, our capacity for self-regulation. If you come to see a psychotherapist or a psychologist, or you go to a priest or a leader of a church or a temple or a synagogue, wherever you go to a gurdwara, one of the things that the verses and the scriptures and the prayers and the wisdom that will be shared with you will be about how do you regulate the way that you feel? How do you bring yourself into composure, into a settled way of being? And that helps then with managing the ups and downs of life, because ups and downs are a necessary, an absolute, an essential part of life. They will come whether we want them or not. But how we move through, my guru used to say that, it may be that we cannot change the weather, we cannot change the direction of the wind, but we can always adjust our sails. And that is what spirituality helps us with. And in the third box on the right are the three other aspects of resilience building: caring and supportive relationships, the networks that we have, that sense of feeling loved and accepted and belonging can be very important within our families, within our friendship circles, and religion and faith and spirituality also brings that. It's a protective factor, actually. And when we have positive and high expectations of ourselves, and others that love us also have positive expectations of us, it can bring out a coping, a resilience, a strength, a stoicism that really helps us move forward. And opportunities for meaningful participation in life. You see, if we only take, if we only receive, which we all do from childhood, from the moment we were born up until now, and for the rest of the years that we will live, we will receive from this universe, from the sun, from the clouds that rain down upon us, from teachers and lecturers who give us their knowledge, from our parents, from our friends, from our work. We will keep on receiving. But when we can give back, when we can, of the much we've been given, if we can share something back, meaningful participation, it really affects our self-esteem in a positive way. And that is a wonderful protective factor. If we go to the next transition, go through the three, and yeah, click again. There we go. On that left column, it's fine to leave them all up. Coming into this left column again, what happens when we have those positive emotions, when we have that positive feeling? We develop a more solution-focused, a resource-focused perspective. And that means that we refuse to be offended, we refuse to be hurt by anyone, anything, or any circumstance. We respond always with kindness, not with fear and resentment. When we have that solution-oriented, positive, and balanced perspective, we can come through difficulties. And the other thing that our optimism and our faith and positivity brings is that challenges are a normal part of life. And if we say to ourselves, how could this situation have been worse? Counting our blessings, as somebody was saying earlier. And this idea that what we are going through, this too shall pass. The good times have gone, the difficult times have gone. Everything that we thought would kill us in the past, we've survived it. If we're still here, we will survive whatever is to come. And spirituality also tells us, what might I learn from this situation, no matter how challenging it might be. So that first left-hand column for me, there should be a heading above that somehow has got missed off. But that first column for me is entitled faith. The second column is entitled meditation or Simran. We call it Simran in the Sampradaya mission. And it means that when we can regulate the way we feel, we rely on a higher power. Simran makes us very present moment focused. We are here now. And Simran is like dropping an anchor, taking our roots deep into the formless. We call God the formless Nirakara, the eternal all-pervading spirit. And when we pray, when we meditate, we reach out into this all-pervading power who is within us and around us. We drop our anchor. And because the formless is unchanging, stable, it does not come and go. It is not subject to birth and death. It is timeless. When we associate with that power starts to affect how we are. Psychologically, we get very strong. Spiritually, we become very strong. And we live within narratives of hope. I know I'm running over, so I'm going to wrap up very quickly now. This third column, the first one was faith. The second one is our Simran, our meditation. And the third column in our Nirankara mission, our Sadhguru tells us that we should serve. We should contribute to society in a positive way. And that's where we make a difference, in that orange box on the right-hand side. When we are actively improving the world that we have, actively supporting and encouraging and being appreciative and helping others when they are in need. It is our seva, it is our service, it is our duty in life. And when we do that, we really feel good. We make responsible choices. And Babaji, my guru, used to say that actually we cannot hope for a better tomorrow if we do not act in a good way today. So these three things, and I would like to end just now with this one prayer. It's a very short prayer. Please feel it with me. It is just like this. Tuhi Nirankar, main teri sharan haan, mainu bakhsh. And what it means is all-pervading formless. There is only you in this universe. There is only you everywhere. Main teri sharan, I am in your shelter, in your refuge. Wherever I go, you are with me. I'm never alone. Mainu bakhsh. Protect me, shelter me, and forgive me for anything that I may have done wrong, knowingly or unknowingly. And when we root ourselves in that sort of prayer, that sort of spirituality, we will come through any difficult time. Thank you very much. I do apologize for running over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bobby. So there we have some of the another features of the faith. So let's go straight to our next speaker, looking at the timing, to Edinburgh Napier Christian Union, one of our students who has been doing some other events as well. Amy, she is one of the committee member of our society in Edinburgh Napier University for Christian Union. Hi, Amy.
Hello. Hi everyone. My name's Amy. I'm the president of the Christian Union, and so we're one of the societies at Napier who meet regularly, and we put on various events throughout the year. For students, whether you have faith or not, everyone is invited to come along and hear and respond to Christianity. So I'm just going to talk about what we believe as Christians. So as Christians, we believe in a God who created the whole universe and everything in it. It was made perfect, but because sin came into the world is now corrupt. And so, much of the world isn't what we love it to be. There's pain, there's hurt, there's COVID. And so, the Bible talks about how God created the world and it was good at the start. But then sin entered the world, so humans wanted to do what they wanted. Humans wanted to do what they wanted to do, and they didn't want to listen to God, and they wanted to do their own thing. And so our relationship with God was broken. But as Christians, we have this hope that the story doesn't just end there. We believe in a God stepped into the world in the form of Jesus to fix that brokenness. And because of Jesus, God lived on earth among us. He lived through the pain and the mess, and so he can understand how we feel and how we experience COVID and sickness and fear. So that's really comforting. And so whenever you're struggling with something in your life, you're able to talk to him about anything and everything. It can be something small or something big. And we can pray to God. We can do that honestly. We can come to him openly. We can be real about the hurt that we see and feel. And just, confident that God understands because he lived with us. And so, we have the hope. We have the comfort now, but we also have the hope for the future. And so, yeah, as Christians, we just look forward to the day when the world's going to be really good. It's going to be new. It's going to be perfect. And all the pain and sickness and everything of the world is going to be taken away. That's because Jesus has died on the cross for us. So, yeah, anyone who's trusted in him will be able to enjoy that perfect world. So, yeah, as a Christian union, we're here to help anyone who's interested in having the chance to look into Jesus and who he is and what we believe he's done for us. So if anyone likes to know more, feel free to just ask us on our Facebook or Instagram. Come along to our event. At the end of January, we have a week of events that anyone and everyone is welcome to come along to. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you much, Amy. Thanks for bringing those thoughts and fulfill of the mankind prayers. I will hopefully come to all events again. I remember one of the events you have done this year in January. That was really lovely, getting some faith and hope. Thank you much for joining us today. So we will go to our next speaker, who is from Church of Jesus, Evelyn Liston, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She's the Director of Communication.
Oh, we're getting a slide. Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to both hear and participate in the evening. I'm really enjoying it so far. Ankit seemed to give me the impression that I was to speak more on my specific faith and how that helps me and promoting mental health. So I've actually taken a few notes, so in time I can refer to them so I don't waffle. So one distinct principle that I believe as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is that God really speaks to us today. He speaks to us individually as we pray to him, and he speaks to us collectively through living prophets. Now, the Old Testament speaks of many prophets, of Abraham and Isaac and Noah and Daniel, etc. And I believe that the prophetic leadership is still on the earth today. And in my faith, we have a worldwide conference every 6 months where the prophet and the apostles will address the world and give us counsel and direction. This latest one was in October this year, and I've jotted down the title of some of the talks, which can all be found on YouTube. Love Your Enemies, Finding Joy in Christ, Be of Good Cheer, Embrace the Future with Faith, Seek Christ in Every Thought, Let God Prevail, I Believe in Angels, and our prophet's final address at the conference was called A New Normal. I'm sure we can all relate to that. So listening to the counsel of these leaders helps to anchor my faith in Jesus Christ. And all I can say is that I know that his sacrifice on our behalf will make it possible to lift us from the darkest of times. And no matter how we feel, no matter what this world gives to us, he is the light of the world, and he can calm our troubled souls in whatever circumstance it is. So we have a little presentation next, which is a video by 2 of our full-time missionaries. They will introduce it, so I'll just finish now.
Thank you much, everyone. Yeah, I will request our members to just play that video. Meanwhile, I will try to explain that there are some young saints from this faith. They have produced a presentation, and they're going to talk in that presentation as well. How you can use other features of life as well, such as a dance could be a way of prayer as well. And as this is what I have seen in Hinduism, that you can use the exercise as well, such as yoga, meditation, and other things. So I just here, and I'm trying to find out this video presentation.
The name of this piece is called A Pillar of Light, which portrays the event of Jesus Christ and God the Father appearing to a young teenager by the name of Joseph Smith in the 1800s. This event has given me so much hope, especially during times like these that are times of uncertainty. But there's one thing that is certain, and that is that the heavens are still open today, and that we can have constant communication with a loving Heavenly Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the pillar of light in my life. He is the light that allows us to feel reassurance and peace, and I have so much gratitude for Him, and I'm so grateful to be a part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I would invite you to think about the pillar of light that Jesus Christ brings into your life as you watch this dance. And I share that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Darkness covered the earth, people were looking for truth, but it was taken away so long ago. God was preparing their hearts so He could light up the dark, 'cause it was time for a new beginning. There was a boy who needed answers, one that was chosen by God. So he went and found a place to pray, and when he prayed, a pillar of light rested on him. The windows of heaven were opened again. They called him by name, chosen by God. He was part of a bigger plan. It all began with a pillar of light, with a pillar of light. A pillar of light. A pillar of light rested on him. The windows of heaven were opened again. They called him by name, chosen by God. He was part of a bigger plan. It all began with a pillar of light. A pillar of light.
It was a real privilege to be able to film Elder Beasley-Bear's testimony through his dance. He has a beautiful testimony of the first vision, and I echo that of his. That being that Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ did appear to the boy Joseph Smith. That Joseph Smith was a prophet, and that through him God worked a miracle. And the goodness, the truth of the gospel was on the earth once again today for us to enjoy, for us to appreciate and to live and to share. I'm grateful for the knowledge that death has no sting, that our difficulties, our trials don't have to stay. Regardless of our circumstances, that we can be happy in this life. That is what the restoration has brought for me. That is what that pillar of light brought to me. It brought me hope, reason, belonging in this earth, and I'm really grateful for that. I testify that Jesus Christ is the Saviour of the world, and I say that in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
That was beautiful performance. And now our last speaker of this Interfaith event is from Baha'i, Venus and Ali. Hi Venus,
all right,
how are
thank you? Yes, thank you very much. I've been really enjoying this presentation, and delighted that Ali is here as well. So
Yep, we could sort out your presentation now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll be prompt. So if you could put, yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And such a delight to be here with Ankit, Alistair and Ali. My name is Venus Karu. I don't have a particular position in the Baha'i community because there are no priests, no clergy. Everybody is considered to have a connection with God, with Baha'u'llah, but also with the community. So we do have very much a community that gives a lot of support, a lot of encouragement in terms of mental health. So I'm here just for a few minutes to talk about promoting positive mental health from a Baha'i perspective. So next, please, next slide. Yeah, thank you. Baha'i community really very much in Baha'i faith, at its principle is the concept of oneness. That although we have many cultures, many religions, but in essence, we have one planet. We all agree with that, science. There are one people, even though we come from various cultures and backgrounds. Just like flowers of one garden creates a beautiful world. And in a sense, all faiths come from the same source because we believe in one God. So it's wonderful to be here and listening to all these beautiful representation, talking about our oneness and our connectivity with each other and with the sacred. So next slide, please. I think we're going to talk about Baha'i faith. Some of you might have heard about Baha'i. It's considered to be the world's youngest independent religion. There are Baha'is almost in every part of the world, including Edinburgh. So there is actually a thriving community, many students, many young families, and of all ages. I'm one of the older members. There is a Baha'i Centre in Edinburgh, and when things open up, they're very welcome to see you. There are online programs, so if you look up Baha'i Edinburgh, you'll be able to find out. They have devotional gatherings, which are like connecting with the sacred, coming together, reading prayers and meditating, and having a beautiful, meaningful discussion. So the main beliefs is the oneness of God, the sacred. It's not a thing, God, we consider it to be beyond our comprehension, the essence of God, but it's a beautiful, loving creator, oneness of humanity, and essential oneness of religion. Thank you. Next, please. Now, in terms of mental well-being, we're all allowed to be sad, to get upset, to be depressed. We could use our emotional reasoning negatively. We could think that everybody's being bad towards me, but also developing this feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, which really comes from feeling we are disconnected, nobody's caring about me. And that's a human attribute. Next slide, please. However, we know of some strategies, and previous speakers talked about these, to make us feel better. So we can choose not to be sad. We can use our emotional reasoning to think positively, to think better. And then we can challenge our thoughts and our outlooks. We can challenge also our behaviors. But sometimes that's not easy. So we do need a little bit of what we call accompaniment and spiritual support. So that's on the next slide, please. So some of the strategies that Baha'is offer are to really reach out to people around us, our community, but also words of inspiration that we believe come from all sacred scriptures, but particularly for now come from the writings of Baha'i faith. Now, the two figures in the Baha'i faith are Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha, who we call the master. So in one of his writings, he said, be calm, be strong, be grateful, and become a lamp, that the darkness of sorrows be annihilated. So really, it means that we become light, so others will start to benefit from our light, from our radiant love towards others. So next one, please. And I am really rushing, sprinting through so we can get to hear Ali talk about it. Another beautiful quotation from the Master, he says, if we are sick and in distress, let us implore God's healing, and he will answer our prayer. Next one, please. So there was another prayer, but maybe that's been taken out. So there is a prayer that I would just say a couple of verses of that says, And please feel that prayer with me. Do close your eyes for a minute. It says, "Oh God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart, illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hands. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being. O God, I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. O God, thou art kinder to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord." And that is from Abdul Baha, the Master. So next, I am absolutely delighted, if we could put the next slide, which is, yes, gather all people. It's my great honor and delight to introduce Ali Yousefi, my Baha'i colleague, and a renowned international musical artist, who much to my delight and surprise agreed to come along to this gathering. So thank you so much, Ali. I know you're a very busy person. You're doing some amazing work, which I hope people will look up. And your musical talent throughout the years has really inspired many, many people to be calm, to be uplifted, and a solace for their souls. So I hand over to Ali, and thank you very much for this opportunity, Ankit, and your team. So thank you, Ali.
Thank you so much, Venus, for that introduction, and thank you so much, Ankit, also for the invitation to join you guys. And really, all the presentations have been amazing, and I think it would be wonderful to be able to sum up the effect of faith in our general well-being in 1 hour. But the truth is that there's a wealth of material in the sacred writings of all the faiths of the world that could really have us talking for days. We could explore, for example, the purpose of our life, the power of prayer and reflection on our inner and outer life. We could talk about the importance of service to humanity as a pivot in our lives that could give new meaning really to everything that we do and how we perceive the world. Or the effect of being a part of efforts to build communities that reflect on all the virtues that are brought by all these divine teachers that we've been talking about. But really, as the time is short, and hopefully this webinar can act as a source of inspiration and an invitation to the friends to dive deeper into these life-changing topics that have been mentioned today. So the song that I'd like to share with you, it comes at a time in the world where it seems like so many forces of the world, they seem to be tearing us apart, in so many ways. However, in other ways, if we look at it from a different perspective, we seem to be more united than ever in the past. And these tests, they seem to be pushing us to better deepen and understand this unity that is starting to emerge in the world. And I personally believe there can be no greater source of inner joy and inner felicity than working towards this unity. So this song is a passage, as Venus was mentioning, from the Baha'i writings, the Baha'i sacred writings, and it includes 88 participants from around 25 different countries around the world that all agreed to join their voices and instruments in this anthem of unity that was offered up to the world. And the song is entitled One Tree. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Ali. So
all people beneath the shadow of thy bounty, and cause them to unite in harmony, so that they may become as the rays of one sun, as the waves of one ocean, and as the fruit of one tree. Gather all people beneath the shadow of thy bounty, and cause them to you.
Right, so actually we had to shorten it down because of some technical issues and from the size. So thanks a lot, Ali, but we will put the YouTube link, and we couldn't play it over here because of some issues that copyright and other things that YouTube will not allow us. But this song is available at YouTube. The link is there, and we will put on the comments as well to our viewers who would like to watch it later. So for now, I know we have gone over 15 minutes now, but every thought and every views of all the speakers has been very fruitful, and it was good to know how does our mental health can be figured out and can be cured with our faith, because faith provides a hope. So there at the end, I would like to call our co-host Francis Hume to come and say thanks to all our viewers and to our speakers as well. It has been great experience for me as well. So, Francis, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes, I can. Sorry. Yes, so thank you so much for all the wonderful speakers. I have learnt an awful lot this evening, and I'm hoping that we can hear a bit more when we listen back in the future as well. So thank you so much to Angus, Stephen, Amin Buxton, Dr. Nara Simhan, Dr. Bobby Surah, Evelyn Liston, Venus Karu, and Ali, and anyone else I may have forgotten. And of course to you, Ankit, you have really pulled an amazing event together, and so many speakers. I don't think I could have done a better job myself, so thank you, very well done to you, and also to Alistair on tech, who has kept us all in order backstage. So again, do come along to any other events you'd like to at www.scottishInterfaithWeek.org/program-2020, if you can remember that. Just go on to scottishinterfaithweek.org, and we've got 68 events there, still loads to go for the rest of the week. So thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Matt. So what I'll do is I'll add all of our viewers, speakers on this screen, so that we can say goodbye to all together. Right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to all of our speakers. Thanks for coming up and giving us of this thought. Don't want to repeat all the things again, but that's all for our viewers, that how we are going to deal, especially in this pandemic, how to stay connected when you are distant apart or distant with each other, but still this is another way how you can stay connected. That was beautifully I tried, and I want to apologize if I, when I was trying to keep everyone on the time, so probably I have overrun or overspoken to someone. My apologies. Is there anything else anyone wants to say? Right.
Thank you very much, Ankit. Thank you, Francis.
Yeah, thank you very much.